Now, guys, we're going to have an honest conversation today, and we're going to ask a major question today. Is this the European century of humiliation? For those of you who are, students of history, you remember that the European powers, led by Britain, and later on, of course, they would be joined by Portugal and others, and of course the United States would join in later. They went in and humiliated China for over 100 years. Not talking about Africa. Africa, of course, we have been under this humiliation for more than 600 years. We have not gone out of this. Now, there's something that is happening today, which is very interesting. And that is that the Chinese automobile industry is growing at an unprecedented speed that it has scared the West. And this fear is being manifested in the reaction of the West to the Chinese automobile industry and its rapid growth. It started with the United States. The United States, under the Biden administration, when they saw the rapid growth in China of the automobile industry, and of course the advanced technology, the more advanced technology, superior technology, they decided that rather than competing, we will just put tariffs on them. We will increase tariff on them. Okay? Tariffs basically means increasing the importation taxes. So the United States thinks that the only way to compete with China is to put taxes, is to avoid, is to pretend like these advanced technologies, which are superior to the technologies in the United States, they don't exist. Let us pretend that they don't exist by putting tariffs on Chinese vehicles from 25% to 100%. Let us make the vehicles inaccessible to the American public. And of course, the United States is not the only country which has not is not the only country which has put tariffs on Chinese vehicles. Europe followed suit. And of course, many other people have been saying that Europe was coerced by the United States. But because Europe majorly relies on the manufacturing of vehicles and also on the Chinese market, because China is the biggest automobile market on the planet, European companies like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen benefit from this market, and they sell a lot of their vehicles in China. Now, the European companies also are facing these same challenges. They have not been innovative enough, and they have not produced these new technologies. And the Chinese populations now are shunning the European companies and their vehicles and their products. They are now gravitating towards Chinese brands like BYD, which has become a juggernaut and is being looked at even as the next Toyota. There's NIO, there's Xiaopeng, in which Volkswagen also has come even to invest. It invested in the company about $700 million. This in itself shows that Volkswagen has seen the signs. It saw the signs that they cannot compete against Chinese technologies. Now, Europe, when it saw this also, it slapped tariffs of 37% on Chinese vehicles. But even with this, it has not prevented China from entering the European market with its vehicles. It is almost like China is bringing out new vehicles every month. Talking of BYD, NIO, Xiaopeng, Geely, which is also considered to be a juggernaut right now, and acquired companies like Volvo and other Western brands. As if that is not enough, the Chinese have now relied on Western designers for their new vehicles. their new energy vehicles. Now, Canada also followed this suit. Recently, it also imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese vehicles. The Chinese vehicles had actually not arrived in the Northern American market by the time they were doing this. In the American market alone, the Chinese vehicles occupy less than 1%. But of course, they sensed the danger, and that is why they have put these tariffs. Now, the companies which used to dominate the automobile market, like Ford and General Motors, and others from the West, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, and Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen, all of them look like companies which are in retreat. And this is where we best to ask our question: are we seeing a century of humiliation by the West, whereby the Chinese technology is invading the West to humiliate them for over the coming century? And of course, a lot of things have been said by the West in regards to their politics, in regards to their political economic system. They used to claim that it is only a democratic system which has the ability of innovating and inventing things. But today, it looks the opposite. It looks like a communist and socialist China is innovating or out-innovating the West. Now, this goes to show you how false this claim was by the West. And it is a lesson in itself for the African continent to learn from it. Looking at our forefathers and our foremothers and the ideas they had for us reconstructing the African continent. And of course, those ideas were abandoned somewhere along the line after the 70s, when the West succeeded in reconquering the African political and economic space and imposing its own version of leadership and its own version of economics and politics on the African continent. But is there a lesson in this for the new generation of Africans? If we see what China has achieved, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and all these countries which have achieved whatever they have achieved under dictatorship, is there then a lesson for us to learn from when it comes to the African people, both in politics and economics? These are important questions to continue to ask as Africans as we charter a new direction towards industrialization and improving the lives of our people on the African continent in what we call upward social and economic mobility. And this, of course, must be achieved. This question of whether the West is entering its phase of century of humiliation under the hands of Chinese technology can only be answered by what is happening, but also your comments and your ideas and what you think is happening within the comment section. I have opened the comment section. You can make your suggestions. You can say what you think about what is happening globally in the technological space and innovation. My name is Kwame Gonza, and the channel is called Africa Reimagined, Connect Africa, and Hybrid Motors. Thank you so much, and God bless you.